Final update. My wife said she'd frame me for SA after I discovered her affair, so I installed cameras around the house to catch her in the act and won everything in court. My wife's parents wanted her out of their house immediately. She tried to backpedal, but my in-laws said they did not raise her to be a selfish, cheating woman that would try to frame her own husband, and she was no longer their daughter. They disowned her over the phone right then and there and then hung up before my wife could say anything else. She tried to call back, but they ignored her every attempt, and when they got home, not only was she gone, but she destroyed several things around their house, which my mother-in-law was in tears about. I still consider my ex-parents my in-laws because they still drop by from time to see their grandchildren, but my ex is effectively gone to us all. My wife later came back with her AP to pack her things. AP wouldn't even come in the house, and my wife refused to speak a word to me while gathering her remaining things. She knew there were cameras everywhere, and she'd damn herself more if she tried anything else. I wasn't alone either, as my sister and brother-in-law were there to help keep an eye on her. My brother-in-law made sure to keep his eye on AP from the window. My wife was still packing when the kids got home, and she made no attempt to speak to either of them, not even when our youngest cried for her. Before leaving, she did take a few of the photos we had of each other from our wedding off the wall and threw them on the floor to break them. I think she was expecting a reaction out of me because of the way she looked at me while doing it, but since I didn't say anything, she just took the last of her bags and walked out the door. After she was gone, I had to call my elderly mother to come stay with me for a while because I couldn't take care of my kids alone. I couldn't take a lot of time off work, and I didn't have a lot of daycare options either. I also ordered DNA tests for my kids. I was sure they were mine, but several people told me that just in case. Thankfully, yes, both of my children are mine, and yes, I did get tested for diseases, and I'm clean, so no, thank God, no worries there. About a week later, my wife showed back up at my door saying that she would agree to a clean divorce if I did as well, meaning she'd have gotten half of everything if I had agreed. But I said no to her face. There was some fighting back and forth, and she more or less admitted to finding out the law in this state was not on her side. We met, got engaged, got married, and lived our whole lives in this state. There was no way she could get out of taking a major loss unless I agreed to settle, which I did not. Then I said that she betrayed me, our kids, her parents, and practically everyone by having an affair. Then I slammed the door in her face. She left quietly, and I didn't see her again until court a few months later. In divorce court, my wife was visibly quite pregnant by then, and she'd gotten a lawyer. AP was also nowhere to be seen. I expected her to lie to the judge, which she started to a few times, but I had enough video evidence to refute any lies, so she really didn't stand a chance. So instead, she tried to drag out the divorce by simply refusing to cooperate and making various demands. She wanted most of my savings for starters, and she wanted a long list of other things I owned, and she wanted me to buy out her half of the house, even though she never paid into it. On my end, I was pushing for full custody of the kids and to get her name off the house deed. I had the video evidence to back up how she said she didn't really care for our children anymore too, and how she said she would make up lies. My wife tried to stall and repeatedly change her demands, but the judge didn't let her keep dragging things out. This being an at-fault state meant that she was entitled to very little since she was the cheater, and her attempting to frame me only made her case even worse. In the end, she lost all custody of our kids and walked away with nothing more than her belongings, what could be considered a fair financial settlement considering the circumstances, and the car I'd previously bought for her. The title was in my name, but I signed it over without a care as part of the settlement. She'd made no attempts to even speak to our kids during the entire divorce anyway, so I got full custody. The house is entirely mine now, and I'm completely free of her. My now ex-wife did try to keep up with her lies about me to others before and during the divorce, but my sister spread word around of my wife's cheating, and soon all mutual friends cut her off when they realized who was telling the truth. She and her AP left town together after the divorce ended. I heard AP wasn't fired, but he was transferred, where I don't know, but I do know my ex had to go with him. They could have transferred him to Fries in Norway for all I care. I'm just happy they've both left. My ex should have had her do over her baby by now, and I hope it was worth it to her. I realized I should have been paying attention to the red flags long ago. I guess I just kept rose-tinted glasses on for our entire marriage, but it's all over now. Thank you to any listeners who made it through this. I know it was a lot to listen to, but this is my life. Final edit, I got my ex's name off the house deed because all bank records that could be dug up showed only I ever paid into it. My ex was also repeatedly argumentative with the judge, and in an at-fault state, being a confirmed cheater puts you in a world of trouble during a divorce. It's comparable to having a signed prenup against you. And when I said I got the meanest lawyer at the firm I went to, I meant it. The man was like a bear and a shark. The payout my wife got was $1,000, and she also got the car I bought new for her a couple of years ago that cost me $20,000. The car was paid off, and I transferred the title to her. My ex was also still offered partial custody of our children, but since the video of her saying she didn't care about them anymore had been seen, she didn't bother to have any custody and willingly relinquished all rights to our kids when she realized she couldn't get her way. And for those who might think police wouldn't have arrested my ex for lying, think again. The police here don't mess around, and my ex, with a sociopathic grin on her face, tried to frame me as someone who lays hands on his wife. That is plenty of grounds to get arrested.